Welcome to the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am your host, Michelle Berman-Michael, and my mission with this podcast is simple: to help realtors and loan officers across the world tap into the value Instagram can have for them and their business. To me, organic business that comes to us is the name of the game. On this show, you're going to hear from myself, other experts across social media, and also others that are just like you, selling real estate and doing loans and doing it at a high level on social media. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Questions. This is a very unique episode and one that I've really been looking forward to doing. I'm really excited to have a very good friend of mine and client, Alex Wilson. Thanks so much for joining me, Alex. One of the things that I really love about what you've done is you've been able to create the brand, right, about being this family-oriented and military kind of specialist. But I think one of the pieces to you that I love and I really want you to tell my audience about is this understanding of, if you're a wife or a husband and your spouse or significant other is in the military, how can you have a career that allows you the flexibility to be able to say, oh, well, my husband's moving, or, oh, my wife's moving, I gotta go.
Real estate has changed like my life. Having my first son, I went through a bit of like postpartum depression and anxiety because, like back then I wasn't really working. Like I was kind of working, but I was just like living to support my husband. Right. And that's the biggest thing about being a military spouse is like, our husband's first responsibility. Unfortunately, if he gets the call, he has to go and I have to figure it out. And that's okay. But it still doesn't make it any easier. Right. So like having something that was my own and then like creating something for my kids to be a part of it instead of like, hey, I got to find the nanny and do this. It's like, nope, everyone's coming. Let's get in the car. Let's go show houses. Let's figure it out. You're going to come to closing. I'm going to make all the attorneys love you. So when you're freaking out, they're like, they know what to do with you. And I think that that's just been like something that has helped me so much and growing as a person and like loving this job. It's been a fun experience. And I've had so many other military spouses reach out to me and be like, how'd you get into real estate? Do you love it? You look like you're crushing it. You are killing it at life, blah, blah, blah. Little do they know, I am pulling my hair out behind the scenes just because I have 50,000 things going on. Like I have 100 tabs open in my mind. I live off sticky notes, like I'm like wiping butts and writing offers within like the same 10 minutes. But I love it. And it's helped me like find this happiness and this person within myself that I wouldn't have had if I just didn't start real estate. And I just owe it all to my clients and that put their trust in me, but also like I have a big presence on social media. I show up every day and I post and I put my stories on there just to show people like, hey, I'm out here doing this. I'm showing houses. If you need a house that you need to see, or if you have any questions in real estate, like I help answer questions all the time about real estate when they're not even in my market, right? But it's because I truly love talking about it and I truly love helping people. And I want to share that with so many people. And if I can help like one military spouse find herself and her happiness through getting a job in real estate, whether she wants to sell like 2 houses a year and put that money in the bank, like that's awesome. Or if she wants to sell 20 houses, oh my gosh, that's great. But the fact that you're doing something other than wiping butts, doing dishes, getting the groceries, all the daily grind of a military spouse or even just a spouse in general and a mom, like this is awesome. It helps you find that person within you that has that role outside wife and mom.
That's one of the hardest things about running a company is you have that yin and yang of like, how much work am I supposed to be doing? How much mom am I supposed to be doing? How do I balance the two things? But you have just, for all intents and purposes, said, I can do both and I'm going to show you that I can do both. And you've been able to publicly share that. And because of that, I think your business is thriving and will continue to thrive. And so one of the things that, you and I have connected on is Instagram specifically, right? So you reached out to me, I don't know, 6 months or so, maybe even more than that now about Instagram and wanting to level up this presence for yourself. And we've certainly gotten to that point. And now you're getting ready to pick your business up and virtually move it. When it comes to you having to move from Savannah to the Outer Banks, what does that look like for your career and why Instagram and why social media? Why do you feel like that's going to be a reason that you're able to continue to do so at a very high level like you already are?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've started sharing my transition for a couple months now. I've known since February that we were moving. I waited up until we got a little bit closer because I didn't want people to feel like I wasn't available if they needed me to be available. And I've still let everyone know through the process, like, hey, I'm moving, but I'm still here. I had someone reach out to me last week and ask, hey, when are you leaving? Because I need to find a house. And I'm like, 2 weeks, let's do it. And they specifically said to me, hey, like, I just really don't keep in touch with my realtor. And I see you hustling on social media and I admire that. And that's why I want to give you my business. And it's like, wow, that's awesome that other people see that. So just because I got the orders and we're moving, that didn't mean like, oh, well, I give up. I'm done. No more posting. I don't want, it was like, nope, continue, continue, continue. And that was partially thanks to you because you were like, don't stop. Every day you're in my head. Oh, if I don't do this, Michelle's going to be like, you're not doing this right. Like you're not posting enough stories, whatever it is. Like every day I hear you in my head and it's helped me. And it's also helped me organize. Right. So it's like, okay, I know today is a personal picture day and then tomorrow is this day and this and that. And it's also helped me have structure in my business because before I was just like, what? Like when you first saw my Instagram, you were like, this is terrible.
I did not say that.
Probably in your head, but I felt it. But honestly, like the transition's just not hard. Like we went up to the Outer Banks to see our house and I immediately started posting about me going up there. And that's when I started that transition. And just because military here is my niche, that doesn't mean that I can't have a new niche where I'm going. And that's okay. Like I want to help as many people who are military up there, but the reality is the market's a little bit different up there. But that just means that I need to shift my marketing a little bit different to let everyone know that, hey, even though the majority of my clientele here is VA buyers and sellers, like I do know how to work with cash investors. I do know how to work with FHA buyers, conventional buyers, sellers, and all that stuff. And that's why I post about all of it, not just military. And so the transition's just been easy. I applied to have my license reciprocated in North Carolina and it reciprocated as a broker's license. I put it on my stories. So people right then saw, okay. And I've had 2 people reach out to me since that story and been like, oh, you're my new realtor, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
What you did is something that's really powerful because I have sales calls every single day. I get emails every single day from people that are saying, well, I don't think it's the right time for me to start using social, or I'm waiting to get my license. So I think I should wait until I have my license. I'm transitioning from being a realtor to being a lender. So I should probably wait, or I'm leaving my brokerage and going to another brokerage. So I don't want to worry about branding yet because I need to wait until I get there. Like you've heard it a million times. I've heard it a million times. It's kind of that fear factor of hurry up and wait. And I think what you did really, really, really well in this situation is you said, I'm going to use this transition to my advantage and be able and be confident in sharing this and knowing that if anything, it's not going to hurt your business. In my opinion, from the, especially on the outside kind of looking in, I think it's going to help your business because people are going to say, one, you're leaving. So I've been thinking about buying a house. I better hurry up and get with Alex before she's not physically located here. But also, 2, all of your family and friends and people who you've created relationships with in North Carolina through what your husband does and also just through social is going to allow you to pick up and get busy right away versus I just moved to North Carolina. So now I have this mental excuse to be slow for a while. And I think so many people are afraid to share transitions on social media, whether it's moving, whether it's I'm having a baby, so I have to take some time off, whether it's, I'm changing where I hang my license, or I'm transitioning, or whatever it is. I think so many people get worried about sharing those things when I think what you've done is you've doubled down on the sharing process. And from my understanding of even just watching your business in Savannah, knowing you're leaving has exploded more so than it already was. Yeah. And you haven't even gotten to North Carolina yet.
Yeah. So ever since I started with you, it's helped me grow my presence through Instagram, but also it flows into Facebook, right? Because you've taught me how to flow it. And so like, for me, the majority of my Facebook is people that I'm friends with and local people that I work with. All the circle of influences that I've built and all the realtors that I'm friends with. And if I see another realtor close a home or get a home under contract, like I am congratulating them. I am saying that's awesome. It's not about a competition for me. Like I truly do feel in my core that there's enough for everyone. And if words of encouragement are like my love language, I'm going to pour that into other people. And then I see them pour it into other people, right? So in turn, not only have my clients seen that I'm moving there, but I've had other realtors be like, oh, I know someone that's planning on buying a house there. It's like, oh, cool, referral for me, and that's part of it too, is everywhere you move and all the relationships that you've built. We all know that there's the secret world in real estate where you can have a whole business just off referrals too. Like my husband's in the Coast Guard, so we PCS for like 4 months out of the year. The Army is a revolving door. So all of these relationships that I've built with people, it's like when I write an offer, I don't just email it off. I am calling that agent when I leave the showing and I'm introducing myself if I've never worked for them. I'm not just sending the offer. So in turn, even if I don't get that house under contract, I've now built a relationship. I'm going straight to social media and I'm following them and I'm adding them as a friend on Facebook. And now all these people see, here's Alex, this person who's consistently doing business and she's moving to the Outer Banks. Now I have a referral source in the Outer Banks because a lot of people here in Savannah vacation in the Outer Banks.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow my guests on social media. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review wherever you consume this content.